Yeah, let me just quickly adjust and tighten this a tad. Yeah, how are we doing? Happy New Year 2024. New beginnings, new life. Auntie Estella, thank you for joining. How is everybody? I hope you've all been doing well. I hope you've all had an enjoyable festive period. Welcome, welcome, welcome. It's Let's Talk Education Live. You know we're here on a Tuesday, 8:30. I'm seeing people join in the room. You've obviously missed me. So thank you very much for joining. Today's topic is going to be one that's been in the news recently. I'm going to do a reel on it as well. School absences. I'm going to be talking about school absences and what's really going on. But before we do that, I have to pay the bills and big up our sponsors. So, you know, we always do it. Oh, let's go over here. ABC Words First. We are looking at Little Scholars Playground for all of your educational needs. So if you have a child ranging from toddlers, so that's like six months all the way up until 8, they've got some amazing activities, books, posters. Head over to their the Instagram channel now if you don't already. So that's the bills out of the way. Also, all parents, I noticed downloads have slowed down. Guys, this is free. This is absolutely free. In September, I had people downloading this like crazy. Downloading this like absolute crazy. It's completely free. Downloadable book. It is More Education's Essential Guide to Understanding Secondary School. So if you have a child in secondary school, a child coming up to secondary school age, forewarned is, what's it say? Just be prepared. Make sure you've downloaded this. This should be a reference point. You now have no excuse because you have a free resource, and resources for parents is what we're going to be focusing on for 2024. So, you know, I'm getting old because I have to remember what year we're in. Yeah. I wrote the name on a board the other day, and I thought about it. I said, I've been doing this for time. And a student said to me, how long have you been doing this? I said, Rod, I think the first time I wrote the year on the board, it was 2007. He nearly died. He was like, he looked at me like I was from the Stone Ages. So yeah, we've been around for a little while still. So yes, exciting times coming up. As I said, we're going to be launching more resources for parents. We get a lot of DMs, a lot of messages, a lot of contact from parents on how can we better support parents. So what we have and what we've created is we've created our ebook. 2, we've created our WhatsApp group. I need to be more active in that WhatsApp group as well, but we've got some amazing professionals in that WhatsApp group as well. I thought about let me add all of my teacher friends, as many as I can, as many of our teacher friends as possible. We're going to add to this WhatsApp group. So you have direct access to educational professionals. If you need to ask questions, if you need to pose certain things, this is what we do. I've been super busy over Christmas. I didn't even really get a rest, if I'm going to be honest. And I like it that way because I feel I've hit the ground running in 2024. One of the things we'll also be launching, along with some other professionals, is a podcast. The SLT podcast. It's called Serious Leaders Talking. You have 3 senior leadership team. That's what it means in education terms or education frames. You've got 3 from very different perspectives. So 3 senior leaders, myself and 2 other amazing colleagues who I work with. One's a vice principal in a school in West London. The other one is a deputy head at a school in London or in and around London somewhere, I can't remember, also a Senko. So you're going to really get us addressing topics from a very unique perspective, and all 3 of us very different. So yeah, we were filming that over the festive period. So I have not rested, but I'm here. Guys, please remember, tag somebody in or send this to somebody. The reason why I say send it to somebody, tag somebody in, so on and so forth, because the amount of messages I get, I didn't know about this. I've never heard about this. This is so informative. I wish somebody would have told me earlier. The amount of times I get, I wish somebody would have told me earlier. And with somebody, and all it takes is a little share of somebody. Nobody's going to cuss you out. Yeah, guys in the room. Nobody's going to cuss you if you send them A quick message saying, this is something I think you might be interested in. Parents, if you know another parent, if you know educational professionals, somebody, just send them this link to this live. Send it to them, because sharing is caring, guys. Sharing is caring. And sharing the information that is shared in these lives. We've done over nearly, no, not we, I should say we, my team. That's me, Zakia, Ezra, a full team. We've done over 70 lives. Now, considering I hated being in front of the camera, I'm pretty used to it now. Pretty used to it. We're going to try and be as consistent as possible this year. I'm not sure if we're going to do weekly lives. If you want updates on when the lives are and when they're going to be and you don't want to miss that, just join our mailing list. You can join our mailing list in the link in my bio. Join the mailing list, and you're gonna get a lot more information on that. You really want to be on our mailing list, guys. You really, really do, as that's where I'm going to be putting a lot more of my efforts into really serving the community, helping parents, supporting parents, creating resources, building that community for parents, because I'm realizing more education's going really well, really supporting kids, getting those grades, creating lovely, amazing, brilliant students. But I'm realizing a lot of the parents need some support as well. And I need to find the time to really support parents. And this kind of ties into the subject matter. As I said, I'm going to be doing a reel and pushing it out by tomorrow morning. But over the weekend, there was a lot of talk around school absences. School absences. And the stat that was thrown around was 1 in 4 parents don't think it's necessary to send their children to school like every day. So what we've seen since the pandemic is a huge dip in attendance. Huge, massive, massive dip in attendance. I'm getting calls left, right, and center. A massive dip in attendance. And you can see how they're trying to point the narrative, the way they're trying to point the narrative about this dipping attendance is parents are rubbish, basically. Parents are rubbish. Parents are useless. It's you useless parents who aren't sending your children to school. That's the narrative. You can see they're trying to tip that balance, yeah? But being an educational professional, still working in the education system, being a parent, running more education, speaking to as many parents as possible. Guys, please, I speak to a lot of parents. The truth is very, very different. The truth is completely different, guys. It's a completely different story if we're going to talk about what is really happening, yeah? And it's sad. It's really, really sad. And it's a marker to see where society is honestly going to be going. Because of huge cuts in certain provisions, huge cuts in provisions. So NHS, kind of health and social care, all of these things have just received no funding. So the people who are the most vulnerable are not receiving the support. Mental health within children, yeah, is skyrocketing. As I said, I mentioned earlier on, I've been in education since 2007. I'm not going to count how long that is because it's going to make me upset. But it's been a while. It's 2 decades. Yeah, I've never encountered certain things that I'm encountering now. School refusal and anxiety around school was like a real rarity. It was a huge rarity. You wouldn't really see it. That'd be like a one-off kid. You're getting so many children who, it's like it's about 2 types of children. You're getting those types of children who are hugely anxious around school and are facing a serious mental health crisis. And I tend to find that's something that's happening at home and is being reflected. So things are happening at home. There's not that holistic care, so NHS, health and social care, so on and so forth. And those families are left exposed. Those families are left exposed, and it's almost as if the parents don't have the ability to send their children to school, and the kids don't even have the strength, the inner part to get up and go to school. It is painfully sad, and it's just a reflection of the state of our society. I don't want to sound too political, but they're going to blame the parents, and that's the narrative that's going for people who've just joined. We're talking about the huge rise in school absences. they're going to try and blame the parents, but nobody's thinking, okay, what is happening to these children? Why are children suffering so much from mental health, anxiety, things around that? Why? What's really happening? And and as I said, it's twofold. It's a huge decline in the support around the most vulnerable families, and it's so sad to see. It is so sad to see, because you have parents who genuinely want the best for their children but don't have the capacity or support to provide it. And as I always say, this is placed at the feet of schools. It's for schools to deal with it. We're not supposed to look at the NHS and health and social care budgets. We're not supposed to look around those things where there were lots of I hark back to Sure Start and things like that for parents, real support for parents. Because as they say, there is no handbook, guys. There is no handbook. I hold my hands up. I know I have made mistakes as a parent. It's bloody hard. And the children, you've heard me speak about the Gen Zs now, and I think we've gone to Gen Alpha now. These kids are different. So even if you did have the handbook, that manual is probably old. You're dealing with a new set of children who see things and see the world in a very, very, very different way. A hugely different way. But there's no support. And it's so sad. It's painful to see. I was in a conference with a parent and a child the other day, teenage girl, and she was just angry. And she was angry, and the tears were coming down from her face, and she was angry. And she'd been failed by one school, failed by another school. And this was her first day with us. This was her first day in this institution. And I had two meetings back to back, and I just happened to be pulled into this room, and I had to postpone. And the mum said this is the first time anybody had ever addressed these emotional issues. Bringing the mother and the daughter together to really talk about things. Yo, when I tell you the daughter started talking the things, she was about what she's angry. And all it was her first day, and she had on a headband, right? She had on a headband. And I don't want to speak too much, but I understood why she didn't want to remove it. And then out of that, I kind of advocated for her. I said, all right, yeah, I'll get his first day. And out of that, so many things came out, because the emotions of our children, the things that they're going through, there were no resources to meet them. And it's painful. That's the first thing. Now there's something else. And I say this a lot. And I say this to parents. Who join More Education and do you only do online? I said, yes, we only do online. We're an online provision. Oh, my child doesn't learn online. My child doesn't like online. I said, okay. Does your child use YouTube? Yeah. Does your child engage with social media? Yeah. What's your child's biggest source of information? So I'm going to take it that they're an extremely avid reader. Not really. So where do they take their sources of information? Usually social media and YouTube. So they do learn online. That's the biggest place that they do learn. So what makes you think that won't translate to online learning? Nothing to be said. Yeah? Most children are telling me it's pointless. What am I coming here for? Why am I coming to school? So one of the main reasons, and let's be honest, a big part of going to school is a socialization process. You see a friend, you catch jokes, blah, 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 blah. But in kind of modern friendship groups or so on and so forth, a lot of the children don't interact very well with each other. They're not brilliantly well socialized in that way. And sometimes it can be hugely anxiety inducing to have to go in, day out, to interact with other children. I hear, what's the term? Is it social battery? Somebody put in a chat. Like, it drains people with high levels of anxiety, which a lot of our children, it drains their social battery. It's too much for them. That's one thing. And then on the other hand, they're sitting there going, yeah, but I can learn all this stuff on my own online. Because the school system hasn't changed since it was first produced. Somebody says, I believe some school environments do not provide welcome. You're right, even beyond the welcome environments, you're right. They've been the same since flipping the early 20th century, when schools in the 1920s in the UK became compulsory for up to 14 years old. They're based on the reason why we have tables and chairs that face forward, that face the teacher at the front. It's because most early schools were tied to the church. They're like pews, and you face forward and you face the pulpit and so on and so forth. That is the basis of the educational process. You have somebody at the front who teaches or preaches, whichever one you use. You look forward at the board, you take down the notes, and what they say is gospel, and that is it. That is a model that schools are based on. Yeah? And they've been doing that for over 100 years. These children's brains don't work like that. They don't work like that. That blind obedience that is necessary to facilitate that model doesn't exist. The children can see beyond it. The children can see around it. And a child can turn around and say, with those two factors, with, you know what, this is producing high amounts of anxiety for me. I'm not really feeling this, yeah? So that could be around social interaction. That could be around microaggressions and having to deal with and manage adults. Because I think it's really interesting that when we speak about schools, we speak about like the adults managing the behavior of the children, yeah? Okay, let me tell you guys a stone cold secret. I've worked with some messed up teachers. I've worked with some teachers with some serious issues because we're adults. We're adults. So you've got teachers who have substance issues who are teaching. You've got teachers who may have relationship issues. You've got teachers who have a range of different issues, and they're coming into the classroom. And the children have to be able to manage the behavior, the emotions, the whatever of the teachers. You'd like to assume as professionals that's not going to happen, but that's not always true. And children, who know that's like what they have to deal with. You know, like when you go, oh boy, I can't deal with going to my man's class, you know. And you might not have been able to articulate it, but I can't go to Mr. Such and Such's class, or, you know, it just felt heavy. Like, going into such and such's class is long. It's only when you realize that Mr. Such and such was going through a divorce and he was depressed, and your child is having to manage that. And that's almost like workplace culture and stuff like that. So there's so many things going on. Children are saying, I ain't going in to deal with that. Furthermore, I can just simply learn at home. I can learn at home. And a lot of children are doing it successfully. So like, not to make this an ad, but if you're one of our more education students, yeah? If you're one of our more, and I had this in a school last year, I'll explain this to you, yeah? If you're one of our more education students, all of our classes are recorded. We've got banks and banks of resources, like banks and banks and banks. Or as the kids say, racks on racks on racks of recordings, resources, all of those things, yeah? So last year we were in we were supporting some children who were homeschooled, but they were homeschooled as part of a school, yeah? So there's kids, the school didn't want them on site. They needed a provision to educate them, and we did that, yeah? And I remember some of the teachers were like, no, well, they're not going to be able to do my course in such a short amount of time. I have to be there. If I don't do it, cool. All right, cool. Yeah, this is all pointless because it has to be done this way. It's that same kind of mentality. And this is what made me think, we need to start thinking about things differently, yeah? So our teachers went in and done an amazing job, so on and so forth, supported the students. And there were some students who were able to produce the content of a 2-year course in like 4 months. They came in twice to see the teacher. So like the work was set online, uploaded, some videos were done, They were allowed to do it in their own time. They received support. They did it, submitted it, almost like a distance learning course. Our kids can do that, you know. And when kids start seeing that, they're like, okay, so Can you explain to me, why do I need to come in? Why do I need to come in and deal with this stuff? Why? I saw it for myself. And interestingly enough, that small group of students received better grades than the students who were coming in. I would attribute some of that down to our amazing more education teachers, but I'm not going to take the complete. No, actually, I am. I will. We will. We're going to take all of the accolades. However, these students, these kids, they know because they've seen it. They can learn something very quickly. They know they can go and research. And our kids, the information they have access to is crazy. It's interesting. I was listening to, I know it's a bit random, the Cat Williams interview with the Shannon Sharp guy, yeah? And there was one bit that stood out to me because he spoke about, when he was a kid, he used to like read his encyclopedias. And I remember when my mum bought our world, I'm going back, I'm showing my age now, the World Book Encyclopedias, yeah? 1989. I remember that was a 1989 edition. At the time, they were about $2,500, and it was this huge bookcase similar to this, and we had and I used to sit down and read. We had the children's encyclopedias. I used to tear through the children's encyclopedias. I used to love reading the encyclopedia. I loved it. These children have that at their fingertips now. If a child wants to learn, for example, and this is what people aren't figuring out, if they need to learn how to do TikTok ads, yeah? So I'm happy to pay at More Education. I'm happy to pay an ads person, yeah? $8 to $1,000 a month to manage my ads. There are students out there, there are young people out there, because TikTok, they haven't got TikTok, so that's a young man's game, who can manage and monetize your TikTok ads and figure out how to do it on the job within 2 to 4 weeks. Easy peasy. There are courses and things online, and they know how to access these things. A lot of the children, like when we're talking about like understand commerce and trade, they do understand it. Like reselling, so on and so forth. The only thing they don't understand the business fundamentals behind it. And that's kind of, but a lot of children make money online, will do things and so on and so forth. And it's easy. You've got places like where I pay somebody to do my reels, to like cut up my clips and create you've got kids out there who are happy to do that. Happy to do that. So if you're sitting there and no one's teaching this at school, no one's having these conversations with children at school, and they know there's money out there to be made doing something they enjoy, that is in the world that they enjoy, in their real world. In their real world. Now, to us, somebody like my age, who like the real world is getting on the train, going to work. It was freezing, trudging through the freezing cold as I'd had to do today. Because that's what the reality is, yeah? No. Content creation, creating content is like the biggest business. Like it's booming. Creating short clips, effective short clips. If you have, and remember, everyone's an entrepreneur now. You know, everyone's online, everyone's an entrepreneur, everyone's trying to start a side hustle. You could probably get 5 of your mum's friends or 5 of your parents' friends who have businesses or and they know this because they watch the TikToks and the videos, yeah? They know this. I can get 5 people who will pay me, let's just say, to start, they'll pay me £500 a month. Yeah, they'll pay me £500 a month to run their TikTok ads. And if I can show that I can monetize, I'll take it up to $1,000. Yo, man's earning £5,000 a month. And it's for that reason why you're seeing this month HMRC have started to tap into that kind of side hustle economy, where places like Vinted, Fiverr, eBay now have to report earnings to the HMRC. Yeah. Kids have known this for time. Known, and what's the other one? They use StockX for their reselling. They've known this. They see it. And we're telling them, yeah, like, go to school. Because it's a redundant model. Now, you know, at More Education, we are a huge proponent of education. However, what education looks like now and what it needs to adapt to in order to make sure that its service users, its customers, don't vote on their feet, which is what they're doing. If this was another institution, think about it. Think about this. If this was another institution, because they're going to try and blame the parents and say it's because you parents are terrible and you're not looking. No, you have twofold. You've got one, huge, as I said earlier, huge amounts of anxiety around students, and the mental health aspect around families aren't being supported. That money has been drained. And I was going to say stolen. And the reason why I'm going to say stolen is because if you look at what happened with some of this money that went missing or disappeared through PPE contracts and stuff in the NHS, I would prefer to use the word stolen. Yeah, and that money could have gone to much greater use supporting the families that need to be supported. But the other students, other kids are working out, yo, this ain't it. Two things. This country ain't it. I'm hearing a lot of kids saying, yo, sir, this country ain't really it. And when they're going to their parents for that information, we're still stuck in 2020, whatever. This country ain't it. This school thing ain't it. This 9 to 5 thing ain't it. Why am I going to school? The product doesn't sell anymore. It's not education because they'll educate themselves. They will educate themselves. They will educate themselves. If the teachers were selling something that they valued, they would be in school. If the education system was selling something that they valued, they would be there. Remember, this isn't, they're going to, listen, I'm really interested to see how this is going to be framed. Yeah, this is going to be framed and what the conversations are, yeah? But your product don't sell. Your product doesn't sell. And as they say, the kids are voting with their feet. With their feet, they're like, nah. And it is negative. Listen, I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just saying there have to be changes. Like thank you. There have to. I don't talk rubbish all the time. Only some of the time. There have to be changes. And if there aren't changes, I'm also saying as parents as well, we've got to think. Like we're on our toes because we want the best for our children. We want them. We have to almost have our fingers on the pulse and be ready to be able to support our children in the ever-changing world. And again, I said, this is why in 2024, a lot of our focus is going to be supporting parents, conversations around parents. I'm not saying I'm a doyen. I'm not saying I know it all. Yeah, I'm saying, yo, we need to create a supportive community for our parents. Yeah. Because as things are changing so quickly, it's hard. And I'm one of those parents who's like, woof, woof. We need to be working together. We need to be working together. So throughout the year, one of the things, as I said, we have, thank you. So let me just give you a bit of background on what we're planning. We're going to be doing webinars. We're going to be doing webinars with a range of educational professionals up and down. And when I say educational professionals, it's not like it's stiff tie. This is people who are plugged in the same way that I'm plugged in to our community. Yeah. To our community. Yeah. We're going to be having chats. We're going to probably try and do later on in the year some type of live events where we can begin to meet up and have these conversations, because things are moving fast, really, really fast. And my aim is to be able to support and something else I'm seeing is the support, the conversations aren't there. I get a lot of parents who are hugely anxious. And we've got to create the environment to be able to support them, because that's not there anymore. The government has taken that support away, and we've got to be able to provide it in a different way. So the support that we have, as we say, we've got, please, guys, we've got a downloadable ebook. Please download, send it to a friend as a Happy New Year gift. Yeah, just send them the link to download it. We've got that. What else do we have? We have our WhatsApp group. We have a range of different resources to be able to support parents. Listen, the more education thing for the children, we've kind of worked out how that works. We've locked it. Brilliant results, brilliant attendance. Children come, we support. But what we're realizing where we're lacking is the support with the parents, and that's what we're going to be doing moving forward. I've just seen Mr. Cotter join, my old PGC tutor. He's gonna expose how old I am. Gosh, let me hurry up and leave. Lovely to see you, sir. Guys, 8:30. Also join our mailing list. Make sure you're part of our mailing list, because, as I said, a lot of resources, a lot of things are going to be coming out. We're in the mix now, putting things together. Thank you very much for joining. Remember, I'm going to share this now. Share it with a friend. Make it a discussion point. We're going to be here as regularly as we can. It may not be every Tuesday, it may be fortnightly, because, again, a lot of the stuff, this is one of the resources we want to have for parents. We want to be able to create more, and I'm going to need more time. So, Happy New Year. Thank you all for joining, and it's wonderful. Take care. Positive for 2024.